And we are back with you, Triple Crowns, Royal Family. Right now it's just two kings and one queen whom you cannot see, but Triple Crowns still equals royalty. Yeah, I'm not. What I'm saying, I'm not my super producer Shuri on the rhyme, but I can do a little bit. Hey, it's great to see you all. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Welcome back to Triple Crowns, another episode. We are flying without a guest today, which is wonderful. We just chat among the brethren within Triple Crowns. So today we had a couple compelling topics that we were kind of kicking around in lieu of having a guest. And one of the things that we talked about was financial literacy and how the black, the Tulsa Black Wall Street massacre is giving us maybe a different vision of what's going on when we talk about financial literacy. So come on in, join us. It's great to see you. Here's our opening question. What is financial literacy to you? What is financial literacy to you? If you just joined us, we are one crown short. He is on his way. We'll talk financial literacy, talk a little bit of history, and hopefully have a discussion. Tyrone, hope the brothers and sisters and the family and everybody that's watching sends questions, sends comments, sends responses so we can have a nice, robust conversation this evening. So, what is financial literacy to you? I will start off as Brother Tyrone is letting you all into the palace, as it were, through all of the different networks you can catch us on. Wow, it's a doozy for me. This I don't even know. Honestly, Tyrone, I don't even know if I can answer my own question, brother. I really don't. Because for me, it's one of those things where I might think I have an understanding of what financial literacy is, only to meet Tyrone, who knows more and has more financial understanding and literacy than myself. Tyrone may meet someone else, and on and on and on. So for me, at the most practical sense, it is how to wisely manage your money. Now, this is my definition. I hope, look, bro, I hope nobody tuned in and they thought they were going to get a financial lesson from moi, because they would be short. But financial literacy for me is knowing how to spend or manage your money, not spend it, but manage it wisely. That could include spending, but also, you know, I think a part of that is learning some vehicles that help your money or monies to grow. And I'll be the first one to admit I have much to learn in that vein. I still think I'm working too hard and not smart enough when it comes to finances. I think I know that for sure. Uh, which is why y'all need. Speaking of which, look at this. Look at this segue, Tyrone. Which is why y'all need to support. Click the link, subscribe, and you know what? The family's lucky because Brother John got some words for Triple Crowns Royal Family, because he's going to tell y'all these things in technology I don't know about. But apparently, some of our family is not. You're subscribing, but you're not getting the notifications, and that's probably why you're texting me or texting Brother Tyrone or texting John and saying, what time was the show, man? I missed the show. I didn't know what time the show was. And so he definitely wants, I have to remind him when he gets here, because I know he wants you all to not only subscribe, not only share what we're doing, but also get those notifications so that you know every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, it's Triple Crowns in the house. But Brother Tyrone, how about you? Financial literacy, what does it mean to you?
So you took it. You definitely said it for me as well. It's definitely I would yeah. I mean, just to and which like what you said, how you manage how you manage your financial resources, how you set yourself up to be able to get more, more financial resources. and the tools that you use to do it. Like I think that's just the other little piece that I would add to it is the tools that you use to actually manage your resources. Some people go off their brain, right? Like some people just remember in their brain. Some people use apps. Some people use old school paper and books, whatever it is, but just using, just making sure that you use the right tool that works for you. And that's the other thing that I will add is, and I think that's why it's so hard to answer the question, because I think financial literacy is different for everyone. And it's just because of the level of finances that everyone have, right? Like if you have, very minimum, resources, it ain't for so much that you can do, make happen. And then when you have more, it's definitely about how you use them. But I will say that with a little bit, it is still important and how you utilize those little bit of resources that you have, because of course you want to prioritize, right, and make sure that you're covering the necessities and all those kind of things. So that's what it is to me. I would also say that when it came up, I was like, oh great, like I'm ready to come and learn something here from this show, because I want actually Shuri, that is my that's like my money person for me. I have gotten a lot better over the years when it comes to prioritizing. However, I know for a fact that I could do so much better with the resources that I have and how I manage those resources.
All right, brother Tom, I appreciate that. I think you have made a point that is true for many of us. It's certainly true for me. And I wonder, despite some of these ugly stereotypes that we hear, I wonder why that is the case with many of us in our community, that we have struggles. Because despite what people say, we're hardworking people, industrious people that built this country. I think there's, I don't need to overstate that, how much we've done. So I wonder, it's a philosophical question, I would imagine, brother, but why is it that we seemingly economically as a people struggle? Now we know how to spend it, but it doesn't seem to me as a people, as a nation of people in this United States. I can't speak for my brothers and sisters throughout the world in the diaspora, but here it seems collectively and I could be wrong, but I just feel like we don't know, like the word that you use, to prioritize, how to take care of that. What is your thoughts on that? I know I put you on the hot seat with that one.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I think the first part of it is because we aren't taught it from early on. Our parents weren't necessarily taught about credit and, how things work in the right way. So, of course, it wasn't passed on to us. And you mentioned we do know how to spend. And I think that's what we're taught, right? Like we see things, they put things in front of us that, they know we're going to want, that we're going to spend, money on and everything like that. And again, we don't understand the value of credit, okay? And, we don't know these because we weren't taught those things. I always, I talk about project-based learning all the time. Like that should be a part. Financial literacy should be a course in school. Like it should definitely be taught in school. And I don't mean just in high school. I'm talking about as they start to learn the basics of, credit, or the basis of different currencies, just everything, especially now with all of these other, sources, Bitcoins. It's so many other ways and other things with money now. So I think that's what I would definitely say is the biggest issue is the lack of education that we receive within our education system. And I mean, we can tag it on to everything and go back into history. The system wasn't set up for us to be taught the right thing, for us to learn what they wanted us to learn. You know what I mean? And it reflects in our spending, right?
Mhm.
It reflects in our savings. It reflects in, all of that kind of stuff like that. Like it definitely do reflect this. So that's what I would say is the number one for me, and I think for many also. I think that's what a lot of people would say. If we were taught that, if our generations was taught that years ago, it would have been passed down. There are some who get it, and they've passed it down, but it's just not enough of us, what I'm saying, who get it, who understand those concepts and who understand those kind of things. And growing in my community, when I think about my community and my family and kids and stuff like that when we grew up, it was kind of like we were almost taught how to survive, right? Like we're taught how to survive, and in those survival skills doesn't come saving, right? Because it's like it's almost like it's projected that we won't even have enough to save, right? Like we're just going to have enough to cover the bare minimum. So that's what we do, and that's how we taught. I've watching my mother as a single mom, and stuff, just the way that she handled with the little that she had. You know what I'm saying? Like it taught me certain things, and I guess there is some financial literacy in that when you think about it, because my mother robbed Peter to pay Paul. In certain cases, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something in there, but again, knowing the proper tools, to utilize and stuff like that, as it would just make all of the more difference, cards and all that stuff like that when we started out. And this is the last piece that I will throw in. I'm sorry, and I will not say, I know it. I'm pretty sure it's probably happened in other communities and stuff like that, but I know in ours it happened. We had this thing a while ago where our parents would use our names as kids and mess us up early on, and I know some of it was, again, that survival thing, right? Like the gas and electric, so had to put it in the kid's name, and things like that. But in all reality, that messed up a lot of folks once they got older and found out that it was in their name, and they had this. I just experienced that with one of my young folks. So,
Well,
yeah.
thank you for that, brother. And I mentioned a couple things, but one that really stuck with me was the trajectory that, because of our economic background, say we had done as former slaves in this country,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't expected to have two nickels to rub together. Feat that I personally attribute to God, the Most High, that we have any semblance of economic wealth and power today, being as where our ancestors came from here. Now, we get, I know I'm tempted to jump the Atlantic and talk about, some of our great ancestral kingdoms, but the reality is, since our forebears were here, it was a totally different reality. Coming from being royalty to becoming slaves to trying to rebuild yourself and your credit and all those things. There was no credit. And not only that, to your point, we're going to read a little bit of history here too. To your point, Black people were not given credit. If they were given credits or loans, they were predatory, historically predatory, right? Loans and interest rate, APR, you mentioned, exorbitant rates, all kinds of malfeasance and brought on our ancestors. And so I think you hit it right on the head when you said they're coming from children's of your mother, my parent, our parent. They're coming from children's of survivors. They're children's of survivors. So they're passing part of that on, passing the hardship on, but they're also trying to pass on the survival piece. Let's read a little bit of history, brother, because this May 31st, as most people know, and I'm really happy. This is something the Tulsa, it's called the Race Massacre. It's called the massacre, the destruction of Black Wall Street. But I'm happy that, I don't know why, but I'm very happy that it's being brought to light this year. And I have to give, I don't know who credit to these historians, these Black historians that have been really unearthing some gems and putting them on the forefront of social media, of mainstream media. I don't ever recall them talking about the Tulsa massacre on the mainstream media. And even with the idea and the first fruits of not the first fruits, I take that back, for all the forefathers and foremothers who have fought for reparations, but now it seems like it's finally getting a tiny bit of traction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, Tyrone, I know I'm off topic here, but it's funny. I want to say, oh well, we'll set it up that you go to colleges. No. Oh no, there was a promise, right, of land, which brings economic wealth and opportunity in and of itself, and something to work that land. Okay. And that was a machine, and that machine was a mule. And promise was not kept. Let's go real quick. For those of you all who hear me reading, my sources are Wikipedia, not just Wikipedia, also History Channel as well. Just going to read a little bit about the Tulsa Massacre. I'm fuzzy. It's been years since I text, if you will. But just briefly, the Tulsa Race Massacre took place on May 31st, 100 years ago, June 1, between May 31st and June 1, 1921. Mobs of white residents, many of them deputized and given weapons by city of other police officers, attacked Black residents and destroys homes and businesses of the Greenwood district in Tulsa. Let's keep that word Greenwood in our mind, because there's a Greenwood that's bubbling up right now. If you know what I'm saying, if you know what I'm talking about. Alternatively known as the Tulsa Race Riot or the Black Wall Street Massacre, the event is among the single worst incidents of racial violence in American history. The attacks carried out on the ground and Tyrone, from private aircraft, burned and destroyed more than 35 square blocks of the neighborhood. That's a bombing, isn't it? That's a war, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the time, the wealthiest Black community in the United States, known as Black Wall Street. More than 800 people were admitted to hospitals, and as many as 6,000 Black residents were interned in large facilities, many of them for several days. The Oklahoma Bureau of Vital Statistics officially recorded 36 dead. We can read on a little bit, but you get the point, you get the picture. And so then the question has to become, why? They didn't bomb a football game. They didn't bomb a concert. And while they went on later to bomb churches, that wasn't their target this time. They didn't even just bomb homes. They strategically and surgically took out, according to this document here, a 35-block radius of homes and Black businesses in the Midwest, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And you think about it, you don't even think historically that there were too many Black people in the Midwest, but there were. And they did some pioneering things, and this is one of them, setting up this Black Wall Street. So it was becoming another major hub, was a major hub of financial independence for Black people. Goods and services were passing hands in the same community. We rap a whole lot about who's in our community, especially in the urban areas, who now owns what, where in urban areas. Gentrification this, gentrification that. This was during segregation, but our ancestors here in Oklahoma were determining the needs of their community, were they determining how they could do it, and using all of the people that had skills to bring this, I don't want to say utopia, but bring the finest, as far as we know, the finest Black sector of economic now, but we don't have a consolidated. We don't have a consolidated a national Black or national Black and brown base of wealth. It's here, it's there. Tyrone got $1 million, Shuri got $2 million, You know what I'm saying? Oh no, my bad. I'm in a dollar. Tyrone got a dollar. Sure, he got $2. I didn't even call my own name. But the point is, that was a strategic plan to eradicate. They weren't even trying to the power base, and everybody you should know to follow the money, follow the dollar. The scripture does not say the love of money or money is the root of all evil. It's the love.
Mm-hmm.
It's love of that money.
Mm-hmm.
That's the root of all evil. Putting all those things together, these people know. You had Southern, Midwestern white men and white people of affluence. You had Southern, Midwestern white men and women that were poor, dirt poor, and far more poor and in a worse economic situation than many of these Black people here that had this beautiful piece of Tulsa. So just want to give a little background. Tyrone, anybody making any comments out there?
So yeah, we do. As always, thank you all for those who are joining. I ask you to please share the live to your networks and put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram, tell them to come join us live on YouTube. Now, as William mentioned earlier, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, but not only subscribe, make sure that you click notifications on as well so that you can be notified when we go live. Thank you. Jocelyn said, I agree with Tyrone. Financial literacy should be taught to our young people. And she said, Tyrone is on fire tonight. Well, thank you. I hope that's... No, I know it is. I see it here. Yes, he is. And then also it says, we need to make Black Wall Street a mindset. And also we had to take, did I read that already? We had to take the lead in teaching financial literacy. And I agree, accept and get it, it's going to have to come from us, right? Like we're going to need to see and understand it from someone who, experienced it, been through it, and know it all, but that can give the history and explain, like you said, where things come from, because there is a reason we stepped away from loans and getting credit cards and stuff because of the way that we were, the high percentages that we were getting and all those kind of things like that, how that stuff was happening. So, again, I think it needs to come from someone who had that experience, who just had that knowledge, but we definitely have to teach us about it and show us about the right ways in which we need to be doing it. Y'all continue to comment, ask any questions that you may have, and yet again, please share the lives, send it out to your friends, bring someone with you, and tell someone else to join us. Yeah,
absolutely. And you think about it, what happens if you give a nation, if you give people, or not give them, if you allow or not allow, if you do not interfere with their growth, with their economic growth, that nation of people, it doesn't matter who it is, that nation of people becomes self-sufficient. If that nation of people who you rely on so heavily for most of all of the aspects of your society become self-sufficient, they no longer need you, you have a problem. Mm-hmm. So, they have to, by and large, do their best to keep us financially, socially dependent on this system.
Yeah.
And when people like, and I wish I could call some of these names of the people in this Greenwood district, found a way to create. I mean, think about it, Tyrone. They were not in New York. They were not in a major metropolitan hub. They were in Tulsa, Oklahoma, out in the Midwest. And I don't know if there's anybody that's out there, but what I'm saying is it wasn't a bustling town that was off the water, that had commerce and trade and all those things happening. They created that. Mm-hmm. They created that. It was an outstanding feat.
I wish my radars had went off, and I hate when I do this, and I have to apologize to you all family for my brain not thinking earlier. And I say that because I actually know someone who within these last few years have started a new Black Wall Street, um, and has been doing some things, doing some educating around the history of the Black Wall Street, and and have been doing some stuff. And I'm very close to this brother. He's actually was one of my mentors. So I would love for us at some point to kind of revisit, this. And I will definitely invite Brother Donnie Glover to come on to the show. And yeah, and be here. I know he would definitely jump on and support. Yeah,
Yeah, I've had the occasion to talk to Mr. Glover a couple of times. Just a very, very interesting and knowledgeable. Uh,
very interesting is the right word to describe that, brother. Very interesting, but he is very knowledgeable as well. And one thing, contrary to whatever, he cares about his folks and he cares about his people getting the things that they need. Everybody may not agree with all of the ways in which he do things or go about things, but ultimately his heart is definitely in the right place, and that is for the betterment of his community and his people to be better. So that that's what I go by, and that's what gets me. Yeah.
Finance, politics. He I call him a savant, man. He's outstanding. Um, we were talking a little bit about Greenwood. Greenwood is the name of the district in Tulsa, where this massacre happened. I'm actually on, I told you to remember that name, bankgreenwood.com, bankgreenwood.com. That is Killer Mike. I hate to say actor turned activist, or excuse me, rapper turned activist. So I'll just say Killer Mike, the activist who is, asserting himself and not only talking, but here he is setting up uh, means for the community, for our community to get ahead, to have a fair shot at the economic game. Bankgreenwood.com. I am seriously thinking about. I was supposed to join them last year. Honestly, in all honesty, Tyrone, I just haven't gotten around to it, and I need to. But if you go to the why we exist page, he simply says, it's no secret the current financial system has failed at keeping wealth in the Black and Latino community. Our community suffer from a lack of wealth, money circulation in the Black community, and generational transfer. That is why we created a new Black-owned financial institution, a mobile banking platform inspired by the early 1900s Greenwood District, where recirculation of Black wealth occurred all day, every day, and where Black businesses thrive. Today's Greenwood is a Black-owned banking system developed by us, for us. And that's Killer Mike. And, he, along with, he has, it looks like Ambassador Young on his front page there on the bank, along with another gentleman who I'm not aware of. I don't know who he is, but he's been talking about it, and he really hasn't lauded the Greenwood Bank as much as I thought he would. I follow them on IG. I follow him on IG. That's why I know about it. And it's starting to. I think he's starting to put some commercials out there. So things I think are slowly taking off. But I don't think people make the connection between his bank being called Greenwood and what it means and Tulsa. And part of that is because it's, like you said, in a different situation. It's not taught.
Mm-hmm.
It's not taught. So, that being the case, I'm really proud of Killer Mike and what he's trying to do.
Yeah, without a doubt, I love him.
Yeah.
Austin says she's trying to scrape some coins together to open an account with Greenwood Bank.
Hey, maybe we can get brother Killer Mike on. I would love that.
Yeah.
I know he's a busy brother, but I would love to have him come, and he's deep, man. He's not. I mean, the cat is deep.
Yeah.
To come and explain some things. His vision behind that. His vision is simple, really. It's not. It's simple. The vision is simple, but the work behind it is difficult. So I think within the year, I'm going to definitely put my monies. Yeah, it is Ambassador Andrew Young and Ryan Glover. I don't know who Ryan Glover is, but yeah, put some monies in Greenwood. Only thing I personally like, Tyrone, call me old school, call me old head, call me old fashioned. I do like the brick and mortar. I do like to go up to the bank, sit
Yes.
down in the chair and talk to somebody. That's my only drawback. But you know, we're not really doing that as much anyway, um, because of COVID. But you know, that's not going to be a deterrent for me. I just got distracted. So yeah, let me ask you this, Tyrone. Is part of our, I know it's true already. Let me ask you this. How can we, how can I, let me speak for myself, because one thing I don't want to ever do is disparage our people publicly. So let me speak from my point of view. I got a problem, Tyrone. My
Okay.
problem is I like tennis shoes. Okay. I like tennis shoes. I like fancy. It gets me. I like art. I like all of that. There's nothing wrong with that, Tyrone. But my problem is I tend to do that, buy those items, and not buy the items that I necessarily need. I don't know why. I can't wait. I don't know why. They even have layaways nowadays back in stuff. They had stopped layaway for a while, Tyrone. I grew up one time. They stopped it. Something to stores like, nope, no, 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 no. That was one of our first forms of credit, in-store credit. That's
Yeah.
the only credit we could have historically.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, how do I turn that around, Tyrone? You got any tips for me, man? Because this is running my life into a shambles, buying these things, looking great, but I don't own anything. And I learned this myself. If you think that you own the vehicle that you have and you still got a bank lien on it, you don't own it. If you think you own that house and you still got a mortgage on it, guess what? You don't own it. So help me, Tyrone. Help me and help brothers like me and sisters like me who love fashion, love the not necessarily materialistic, but love the materials and don't always prioritize.
You know, I wish I had the answer, the right answer. I will say though that you put out the word that I was definitely going to use, and that is prioritize. You know what I'm saying? I think it's definitely a mindset that you have to put yourself in to prioritize. And so for me, I can say what I did because I too, like you, I love shoes. It's not just tennis. I love shoes. I'm a shoe fanatic, from boots to just everything, and clothes and all that stuff. I mean, literally, if I can change my furniture in my house every year, I would, because that's just what I like. I like something different. All the time I want to see different. However, I had to get to a point where I had to prioritize, right? And think about these things. Think about just how you said we aren't owning anything. And I kind of had to put in my mindset, and I put in my mind that, you know what, dude, like I love these shoes and everything, but I'm finna go out here and make Balenciaga richer by spending $1,000 on a pair of shoes that I'm probably going to wear once or twice this season, put it in the box, and don't wear again. And what value does that actually bring to me, right? Like, what am I going to get from this? Yeah, maybe I could sell them off or somewhere later on, but I'm going to get far less than what I paid for them, right? Like, it's not the same thing. So how do I begin to build generational wealth for me and mine? That's where I went at in my mind, honestly. Like, how do I begin? Although I am still paying a mortgage, right? And paying a car note, I am now in the process of owning my own things, right? Which is not where I was before. So before I got into the mindset of creating generational wealth for me to be able to pass on to my kids and them to be able to pass on to theirs. You know what I'm saying? It was all about that. It was all about, keeping up and doing this, paying high ass rent and all that stuff to other people. And so I just had to really sit down and think, like, in all actuality, it's cheaper to pay a mortgage than it is to pay rent, actually, you know what I'm saying? And do those things. And also, like you said, there are other opportunities and things that we have now. Like they got this thing that's called I want to say the right term for it is like pay as you something, where they'll break your payments down. And it's not an interest rate. Like if it costs $100, they'll break the payment down to 4 payments of $24.99 or something like that you could pay, weekly or something like that. And so when I started seeing things like that, I'm like, that's a little bit more conducive to me instead of just kicking out, the whatever it was all at one time, what I'm saying, right then and there, and making that work out for me in that way. And also because I know we learned from experiences and watching this stuff, I wanted to make sure that I was portraying and showing my kids what they should do. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just saying it, right? Like I wanted to be able to show them what it was and how it is that we should do. So we do things like that. We sit when it's time to pay bills. When I'm paying for my kids and kick out my money, but I showed them, right, that I wish they can help towards it, y'all. So y'all help me get to that day. But I showed them, BG&E, this is gas and electric, and we need to prioritizing what goes, and also just going down the line. We got Netflix and all that stuff, but guess what? Netflix comes at the end of the train, when it's time to pay the bills. But the mortgage, the gas, electric, the car, like those things are there. You know what I'm saying? And I did that, and then also it was saving. I'm not the best saver yet, but I've gotten a whole lot better, you know what I'm saying, with putting up some money and teaching them the same exact thing. When they get allowance, you have to save some. You cannot spend it all. That was something that I was not taught at all, you know what I'm saying? So that changed. I think, I don't know, that's the best advice. I know that was a lot, and it was around the question, but you know what I'm saying, like that. If I had to tell anyone that's all I can really say. I did. That's how I was moved, and that's how I did. It was, definitely creating generational wealth of my own, and then figuring out those steps and what I already knew to do it, and also getting educated even more, from someone who knew a lot more about finances. And that's what I did also. Like I talked to someone else who taught me about credit and how to get my credit score, better, what kind of secure credit card to get, and how to make the payments on time. You just make one payment on it and all that good stuff. I think we should actually have someone, and I know someone who we could have on the show as well to teach us about that and how to use it and what cards that you should go after and how do you pay it and how do you spend. And it actually worked. It definitely worked for me because my credit was shot at one point, but now it's definitely up and it is a whole lot, hell of a lot better now. So yeah, I think that's it. I'm the wrong person though. I like shoes.
No, I was just about to say I disagree because you dropped a lot of nuggets, and the thing is, people can say, "Oh, you know what? I was just like him. Oh, he did. Oh, okay. So he got a house. He still dresses fly. He has children. He prioritizes his bills. His credit score is improving.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you started from somewhere. That means you progressed from maybe not the dire opposite, but at some point you weren't where you are. That's encouraging. Rather when you see somebody doing well, and some people have always done well, but some people they do well and they pretend like they never had an issue. So I think that what you're saying makes a lot of practical sense.
Mm-hmm.
We certainly welcome, the expert that you have on credit and any other kind of expert that we have about financial literacy, because it's important. Mm-hmm. And the main thing, like you said, is It's generational wealth. Killer Mike said it. You said it. Killer Mike said it. That's what the whole thing. The Greenwood district wasn't set up for 1921. Greenwood, they were trying to create a perpetual place where Black people in that area could live, survive, and thrive financially, economically for time immemorial. You don't set something up just for yourself for one time and build with partners around you. No, that's not how you do it. You do it to continue it, to further it, to get us out of this rut that we were subjugated into and have had so much time climbing out of. We've done well. We've done well as a people. I don't mean to say that, but I know that I feel like we've done better individually, and haven't gone back to tying it all together, pulling it all together. Now, I would let me give you what I've done. Let me give you a little bit about what I've done. This more so because I'm terrible at everything else that you said, so I'm not even gonna go there and embarrass myself. But I will say that I have taken a really hard stance in trying to patronize Black and brown businesses, primarily Black businesses, especially in Baltimore City. Super producer Shuri knows. Anytime I say, ooh, check this place out, it's a Black-owned business. And I make sure I tell people it's a Black-owned business. And you need to support a Black-owned business. So if it's a vegan spot, we got that. Grindhouse is one of them. You just mentioned one the other day? I can't remember. Somebody mentioned one the other day. No, it was my homeboy. It was my homeboy Brian Biggs that did the cooking for us the first show. He mentioned another spot. I think it's called Mom's or something like that. I think that one might be on North Avenue. I don't remember. But
it's a couple of them.
Yeah, it's a couple of them. Land of Kush, right? It is. You're right. And I don't mean to call names and not call other names, but I'm gonna call names that I notice on my head right now. Everyone's place. I've probably spent the most money, retail money, in everyone's place in any other, and I'm proud of that, brother. I'm proud of that. I'm proud to say that I wish more to close, and that's my next step. Is I'm looking at clothing that is created by our people. Right now, I do what's cheap and fly and cheap. Cheap fly. Is that a thing? Cheap fly. So I'm not going to. I definitely, and like we said, we have a protocol on this show. We don't give no names and no labels and no companies and nobody unless it's a Black or brown owned entity. So I'm not going to tell you what a shirt is from. If you recognize the shirt, then you recognize it, and that's it. What's understood don't have to be spoken on. But the point is, I have done my best over the last few years to really try to whenever I could. And the thing is, it's hard to do. You know why? Because we don't have priority in where we're gonna lease our buildings for our pop-ups. In fact, speaking of pop-up, there is a brother, Mushroom Maniacs. If y'all are vegans, Mushroom Maniacs. This brother pops up. Mushroom Maniacs on IG. He pops up in White Marsh on Fridays. And the food is off. It's just ridiculous. But why does the brother have a pop-up? Do you think he has a very nice car, by the way? I could be wrong, but I don't believe the brother likes driving from wherever he is with all his food in his nice car because of the pop-up. I tend to believe it was probably hard for him to get a spot, you know what I'm saying, and establish a spot. So it's very difficult. So I want, the Triple Crown Royal family to think about, if there's something. I'm tempted to get up and get my watch that I bought from 17th, which is a Black watchmaker off of IG. Beautiful. I might do that. I got to show this watch to y'all. Beautiful watchmaker. Black. Another watchmaker is Banneker. These are Black entrepreneurs. So whenever we can, we should be trying to invest. When we have a choice. Sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes it's got to be Walmart. Shoot, I said the name. Sometimes it's got to be that big blue and white store. You know what I'm saying? But whenever we can, you know what I mean? Like, somebody do a service. The brother last week, You know, the gentleman last week who came on and told us all of the things about tech. I mean, he gave us a class on not only technology but how the system uses technology against our people. You know what I mean? So every opportunity we can, whether it's a business or it's a practitioner, or someone, like, once we get rolling, I want everybody to know she don't like to come on, but our super producer, Shuri, is a Black woman. She's another tech savant. We could have said, "Oh, let's get XYZ." No, she can do the job, and that's the way we got to look at it. Another thing we got to say, and I know I'm probably going out of my zone here, Tyrone. We got to stop. If I fix your car, Tyrone, and I'm not perfect at it, either I'm late or whatever. We got to stop. My opinion. We got to stop saying that's why I don't mess with us when it comes to stuff. We got to stop that. Other people get over on us night and day. We a mom. We don't hear a word. And I'm not saying the people in our community shouldn't be held accountable for what they do. They absolutely should. Mm-hmm. But publicly and even intrinsically, we have this thing. We say, all right. I heard somebody tell me they was not going to a Black dentist. This is a Black person. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? So we got to get out of that mindset. There's a lot of work we got to do. I think finance is one of the arms of it. Is, like you said, is not being taught or being ill taught, because our kids need to see, a Shuri Patterson that's doing all this great work with text. And oh, by the way, she is from the city. And oh, by the way, she is a Black woman. Our people need to see Andrea Boston at Baltimore Museum of Art. And oh, by the way, she's a Black woman. Oh, by the way, she is from Baltimore. Oh, by the way, she is doing great things in her field of technology for the Baltimore Museum of Art. That's part of teaching too. That's why we got what we call it, crown jewels, so we can highlight these people to come in and we can tell people, look, this is what so and so is doing in the community. You need to be a part of that. All right, what you got? You laughing? Somebody must have said something.
Yeah, a great comment. Actually, and it is the truth. I thought it. She put it, but Cheap Fly sounds like it could be a new brand.
Hey,
it absolutely does. Also, it was stated that William, you are not the only one. Everyone likes nice, new, shiny, whatever. Marketing companies are built on that concept. Mm-hmm. As a people, we lacked so much for so long.
There it is.
When we did get money, we just go grab what we want. Also, we don't understand the concept of moderation. And yeah, I totally agree with you and with that comment. It is absolutely, do get or have the opportunity to. We just kind of go berserk because we felt deprived and, all those things for so long. So that is definitely.
And you know what? We got to deal with that, bro. Mm-hmm. I don't know who made the comment. I want to give them credit. I'm sorry.
That's Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, thank you so much. You touched on it. But we got to deal with that, Jocelyn and Brother Tyrone. We got to deal with that our self-esteem, our thoughts of self-worth cannot be wrapped up in materials. They can't. We'll never achieve what we want internally if we're looking at it from an external point of view. Never. It'll because the two are two totally different mediums. Mm-hmm. And so I think you're both right. I didn't want to say it, but you're right. It comes out of that system that we were in. Mm-hmm. And finally we got something. So we're gonna go ham, so to speak, on it. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I think it was Jocelyn and still and most people like nice things. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But to Tyrone, to your point, brother, we gotta prioritize. I think it's a beautiful thing. I haven't made me see you provoke me because I have not sat down with my children. I tell them what I do, but I haven't sat down and shown them how to execute it. So I think that is going to be my lesson for the week, my brother. I appreciate you for that. It's 6:55. Any final thoughts from you, my brother, and or from the Triple Crowns Royal family that joined us. Thank you, Jocelyn, so much for being a part of the conversation.
Yeah, Joe and my mom. There's a couple people in here. Thank everyone that's here and comment in the "You Better Say It" and that's right in the greens. We appreciate all of that. You mentioned the crown jewels, and you talked about our clothing brands and stuff like that. And so one brother who I do want to mention, who we will soon have on the show, I'm just waiting to confirm dates and stuff, is a brother named Derek Strickland, who is a young male here from Baltimore, born and raised in the city, um, lived a lot of a typical life. As a lot of kids from Baltimore, was a foster kid. Actually wound up with a decent, a nice family though, who took in him and his other siblings and everything. They kind of grew up together. He was in a youth program that I worked with before, but this young dude, then even as a little teenager, now he's a young adult now. It was always he always had this thrive and this thing about him to do better, right, and to give back. So I'm proud to say that he is a crown jewel. Now, this young man have now created his own graphic T-shirt line.
Mm.
He not only sells T-shirts and graphic T-shirts and design them according to what you want, he's also made it a program where he taught other young people how to make graphic T-shirts, and he
Wow.
allows them to use his equipment free of charge to do the stuff. He got them the vendor where he get cheap, inexpensive shirts and stuff from that's still good quality. Put other young folks on with that. And he's done that, and so we're currently helping him. Me and a couple of other people are trying to help get him some grant money so that we could turn this into a larger program for young folks. But he's already doing this on his own dime, his own dollar. Young brother, early 20s, out here doing this thing. So, congrats to you, bro. Derek Strickland, again, y'all will see him and meet him soon. And as William said, like Black businesses, this is a Black owned, only an operated business. So you need shirts instead of us, go into these places. I'm tell this quick. I know we almost done. So when I ran my campaign, right? Of course, and Shuri can tell you, we ain't had no damn money, y'all. We ain't had no money for the campaign. However, I refuse, and I could have gotten so much more for my money to go to a specific printer to make my shirts and stuff that I wanted, but I refuse to do that, right? Knowing that I got this Black guy, right? This young Black man that could produce the same quality as this large company, right? Now, this large company, I might have got a couple of more shirts for the amount of money because, of course, they got the resources for it, but I didn't do it. I went to him. Shirts are great. That was last year. I done washed the shirt 10 times. My shirt still look good. So, shout out to him. But yeah, that's who did my shirts in my picture for my campaign stuff and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Man, it's been a blessing talking to you. Thank you for your expertise, honesty, man, and being candid about how you are on the come up. And I'm going to try to get myself up on the come up as well. Triple Crowns Royal family, please like, subscribe, share the show every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We do have some announcements coming up soon about a brief hiatus, so we'll let you know about that. And our super producer, Shuri, has reminded me that I need to book that concert that we promised you. And I promise you we are going to do that. We'll probably won't be until July or something like that. But we are going to have it. We do have the first 100 people. We know who they are, and we do have the first 50 people on IG. We know who they are. So anybody trying to sneak in the back door at 51 or 101, nope, you can't see the show. Only those people will get the link as a sign of appreciation. Thank you all for rolling with us. Last show we only had 3. This show I don't know how many, but those of you that are here, Miss Joanne, Miss Jocelyn, and any and everybody else, thank you so much. I have a little saying, Tyrone. I just thought about this, man. To the fathers, to the brothers, watch what you do because your children are watching you. Hey, may the Most High bless you and keep you until next Wednesday. We are see you. Peace.
Yeah.